There's a glowing rectangle near you right now. Your hand, your pocket, face down on the table. And when you feel really sad, the one in the morning kind, heavy on your chest, that rectangle's the first thing you grab. Not a person, a screen. You feel sad, and you go be sad alone with it. For almost the entire human story, that move didn't exist. Not because your ancestors never felt sad. They felt it hard. But being sad by yourself was nearly impossible to pull off. Somebody was always right there. So a young scientist went looking for sadness, the deep, stuck, clinical kind, in a place modern life never reached. He found a number that made him read it twice. Then he found what these people did with their sadness instead. This is why most humans who ever lived never felt sad the way you do, explained. Here's what you'd assume. Ancient life was miserable. It was cold. You were hungry a lot. Something in the dark was always trying to eat you, and half the babies born didn't live to 5. So surely your caveman ancestors were the saddest humans who ever walked the earth, right? That's the obvious guess. It's dead wrong. Back in the 60s, a young man named Edward Schieffelin walked into a discovery about you, about the sadness you carry around. He wasn't even looking for it. He'd trained as a physicist, of all things. Then people pulled him in harder than physics ever did, and he traveled about as far from modern life as a person can get, deep into the rainforest of Papua New Guinea, to live with a tribe called the Kaluli. He stayed more than 5 years. He wasn't there to measure sadness. But Schieffelin was carrying the exact checklist doctors still use today to diagnose depression, the clinical list, symptom by symptom. So he ran it, across a whole community, one person at a time, the same way a doctor would run it on you. And the burden of depression came back at almost nothing. Not lower than ours, near zero. Think about your own worst stretch of it for a second. The heavy, flat, can't lift your head kind of sad. Now picture testing a couple thousand people for exactly that, and finding almost none. That's what Schieffelin was staring at. And these were not comfortable people. Short lives, buried children, real violence between neighboring groups. Every single ingredient you'd bet money makes a person sad. All of it present at once. And almost no depression anywhere in the count. Then Schieffelin noticed one more thing. These people had a ceremony, a genuinely bizarre one. Bizarre enough that if you saw it on video today, you'd have no clue what you were looking at. Bizarre enough that he named his entire book after it. A book with maybe the strangest title in all of anthropology. Hold on to that, because that ceremony is the whole answer. Fast forward a few decades. A psychologist named Steve Ilardi studies depression for a living at a big university. He reads Schieffelin's near zero number and does a full double take. Near zero? Nobody gets near zero. Not in any clinic you will ever walk into. So Ilardi starts pulling the thread. And the same story keeps turning up everywhere he looks. Traditional groups all over the map. The Amish. The people living farthest from modern life. Their sadness almost never curdles into the stuck, clinical kind. Then, modern life shows up, and the sadness starts hardening into depression, like it's making up for lost time. Ilardi lands on a blunt name for the thing, a disease of civilization, and it's not rare anymore. Depression is now one of the most common conditions on the planet. It has almost certainly sat down at your dinner table, in someone you love, maybe in you. Ilardi's whole point is that this is new. Your great-grandparents' world had a fraction of it. But why? Here's where the whole picture flips upside down. Schieffelin's Kaluli didn't dodge sadness. They ran straight at it. That ceremony he named his book after, its entire job was to make people cry. Dancers from a neighboring longhouse show up dressed as birds, and they sing. Not happy songs. They sing about your dead, your lost places, the riverbank where someone who's gone used to sit. They sing until the whole room is heavy with sadness, everyone sobbing. And then the grieving crowd does something you would never expect. They pick up torches and burn the dancers across the back, on purpose, and the dancers take it. They want it. Because the burn is how you say thank you. You reached my sadness. You pulled my sadness all the way up and out of me, and now I'm not carrying it alone. It got witnessed. That's the entire point. The sadness had somewhere to go, through the room and out the other side, instead of rotting in one chest for years. They built a whole ceremony just to make sure nobody grieved alone. See what that actually is? Sadness, in that world, was never a private thing you hauled around by yourself. It was a signal. And the instant it showed, the entire tribe turned to face it. That's the machine. Feeling sad was never the problem your ancestors had to solve. Feeling sad was the alarm that summoned the solution. Everybody else. One caveman's sadness instantly became the whole camp's to carry. Your sadness was never yours alone. That's what being sad even meant back then. Everybody leaning in. Your own great-great, however many greats grandmother felt sad too. Buckets of it. She buried children. She lost people to the cold and the dark. But she was never handed all that sadness and left in a room to sit with it alone. The moment it hit her, the camp folded in. Bodies, voices, hands, a fire. So what is depression then? The modern kind. The kind 1 in 4 of us gets dragged through. Ilardi's answer reframes the entire thing. It isn't too much sadness. Your ancestors outsadded you by a mile and never got depressed. It's sadness with the second half torn off. The alarm still fires. That part hasn't changed in 13,000 years. What changed is that now, when it goes off, the tribe doesn't come. You feel the sadness exactly as designed, and it summons no one. That glowing rectangle, one more time. It's 1 in the morning, the sadness is back on your chest, and your thumb already knows the drill. It reaches, it scrolls, before you've even decided anything. You're sad, and for the first time in the whole human story, that can happen with nobody on Earth knowing. You watch other people's lives through perfect little windows. And underneath it all, you feel the ancient signal firing, the one that says, go home and find your people. And you answer it with a slab of glass that cannot answer back. You didn't do anything wrong. You're running software built for a world we walked away from 13,000 years ago. The alarm works fine. It's the tribe that's gone, traded for followers, for a feed, for a glowing rectangle that never once sits down beside you when you're sad. Somewhere back down your family line, there's a woman beside a fire. She has just lost someone. She's sobbing, and she is not alone. The whole camp has folded in around her, singing her sadness back to her until it weighs a little less. That's the picture 10,000 generations grew up inside. Now pull back to tonight. It's the same species, the same sadness, the same alarm going off in the dark, and one person lit blue entirely by themselves. Your ancestors didn't feel sad less. They just never felt sad alone. Every time the sadness hits and you reach for a real person instead of the screen, you're using the oldest medicine there is. Maybe it's a call, maybe a knock on a door. Just someone who'll sit there with you and not try to fix it. And if the sadness has been there too long, the person you reach for is a professional. That counts too. Same medicine, different tribe member, the tribe answering the alarm. 13,000 years of practice, still sitting right there in your hands. Ogg is a cartoon caveman in a make-believe jungle, not your doctor. Please do not sue Ogg. And honestly, just cheer up might be the most useless thing anyone's ever grunted at a sad caveman. Tell Ogg the worst version you've ever been handed down in the comments.